All right, guys, welcome to Mindset U. We got Jay in the top left hand corner. We got my man Rancis on the top right. Well, my top right. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today because we were just discussing on why you guys should listen to this podcast. And we realized that we're just three Joe Schmoes over here talking about our perspectives in life, and that sometimes our solutions aren't necessarily your solutions. But what we understand from mindset is that it's a perspective. And if you can take control of your perspective, then you can change your life. So what we do here on this podcast is share our stories and our perspectives and our journey to show you and illustrate that your mindset can be changed even when things are tough. So today I'm gonna switch it over to Rancis. He's gonna introduce us to our podcast for today.
All right. So, Jay, you wanted to talk about this topic, which is act of service. And I find that interesting because you're the most selfish person I know.
It's true.
But no, honestly, you're, in my mind, you have always been like, you either like me or don't like me. Like, I'm all myself and so on and so forth. Very single child of you, right? But I also know that you've dealt with a lot of kind of mental, emotional challenges within yourself.
Yeah.
That you've shared in this podcast. So
crazy.
tell us why you wanted to kind of dive into this topic.
Yeah, no, acts of service is just the avenue that I'm exploring when it comes to trying to show my love and appreciation for my friends and family. Like you said before, I do have a lot of only child tendencies, and I've noticed that I'm very good at being selfish with my time. So I'm trying to be a lot more proactive with being there, especially for my younger cousins and just like other family members. Because one thing I really noticed after the wedding party was that there was a whole bunch of people that I see maybe once, twice a year. And I'm like, oh, wait, you live 20 minutes from me. That's insane. And it just kind of, you see these kids grow up and you don't know them. And I want to be there for them, like how I was fortunate enough that older cousins and uncles and aunts were there for me. So it's just time to pass on that torch, because I'm at that age where they were when I was a kid.
Let me ask you though, when you talk about, like you shared, you have those single child tendencies. What did that look like? Like before you decided to go on this pathway?
I think it just went more to being like, oh well, like when it's their birthday, when it's something, when it's one of their important days, it's like, oh, if I send them a nice gift, or if I send them money and stuff like that, that makes up for not being around.
Mm-hmm.
And the older we get, the more we tell stories and whatnot. You realize that nobody remembers that bullshit. It's nice, it's great for the moment, it's temporary, but all of my favorite things just revolve around memories of just being around a loved one, whether it's my dad, uncle, cousins, blah blah blah. The gifts are nice, but they don't mean shit at the end of the day. You don't take them with you. But the memories are what matter the most. So I'm trying to create more memories with friends and family, because that's what we take with us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Hope.
You mentioned before that like a lot of this self-awareness has come from when you and Ashley kind of started dating.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, I have to be like a decent person.
So how was it before that?
I just kind of just did whatever I wanted. And if it's something I didn't want to do, I was like, oh, I'll find an excuse not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll be cool with it. It's fine. I feel like you just make up that excuse. Like, they don't care. They have their friends, I'm not important to them. It's like, no, you are. Mm-hmm. You are. You can't, you can only lie to yourself, but for so long. And so you realize that these are important things and you can't talk yourself out of it. And I'm very good at talking myself out of it.
And then you met Ashley. and then you just decided that you're gonna be a changed man.
Well, it wasn't that. It was just that I had somebody who loved me unconditionally and just believes in me. So it's like, be the man that she sees. Because sometimes, like we talked about, I look in the mirror sometimes and I don't see that guy, but she sees that, and that means a lot to me.
Mo, I have a question for you because you're not a single child, but I've always felt that you got a lot of single child tendencies, which is really like the oldest child tendencies, very similar traits to a certain extent. In the fact that you can fade away easily in relationships, and I mean relationship, not personal relationships, but a lot of people tend to reach out to me to ask me how's Mo doing, because it's like, I haven't heard of him or seen him since XYZ. So what are your thoughts about what Jay's sharing in terms of all of that connection mushy
She's
stuff?
a little bitch.
No, I always felt like Jay, even when I was a young kid, like when we were growing up together, he was always a person that wanted to be around people. I never saw him as a person that wanted to be a loner. I think he wanted to be around friends more. I think there was a period where he got older and he became more of like a inside body type of thing. It was like a small period that he kind of just, I think it was when he first got indie, he was in a relationship. He kind of just like stayed in. Then after that relationship, like you kind of just like played video games and smoked weed for like a really long time. And then it's like when he came out to
Solid 10
Vita
years.
Project, yeah, like when he came to Vita Project, I think that's where he kind of started to come out of his shell a little bit. He started working out, going boxing, put himself out there, and then obviously Ashley changed him a lot too. Um, I wouldn't say that. I would actually think my perspective of Jay is very different from how he perceives himself to be. I always felt him to be kind of selfless. Uh, if anybody in the group of our group that was selfish, I felt like it was me. You know, I think for me, I it's the anxiety around seeing people, especially people that I'm not like really close with. It's overwhelming for that. Like I to have these like superficial conversations and share parts of like me that I don't really want to share because I don't even know who you are at this point. We don't share every single day together. Like, like I could talk to you guys easily because I know you guys. I see Rancis. I used to work with you every day. Jay, we were friends since I was 9 years old. But like everybody else, I mean, I've always felt like it was for a reason, like a service, like I was providing some type of service, or I was like helping them in some sort of way, or they were helping me, and it was almost like transactional. So therefore, it's just like, why? Not to sound like a dick, but like I have no reason to reach out to you, because I was like, we're not really friends. My circle of friends is really tight. It's close, and it's really hard to get into there. So I don't know. I don't think of myself as somebody that's just going to go out of my way to help everybody. I help the people that want to be helped and need to be helped. Like that's it.
I was gonna ask, and the people that are like in that circle, do you feel that you reach out and you like those people get that aspect of you?
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like I see it as if I want to reach out to them, and you guys tell me if I always reach out to you guys when I want to talk to you about something or I need to talk to you about something. Uh, but otherwise, if you're saying like, "Oh, let's go hang out," I don't know. I'm pretty much a person that just likes to stay home, work out. I don't like to hang out. I like working. I like doing shit at home. I don't know, like chilling when I don't have to work.
Mhm.
I like being alone. There's just something that is in like it's been coming up for Marina and I. Like I had a conversation with her, and I was just like, listen, my whole life I was like alone a lot. I spent a lot of time alone. I was like, I like being alone. I need that time for me to like. And I spoke to this about to my therapist about it, like why I don't like to share things right after something happens, like my day of work. Like somebody asked me, like, how'd your day of work go? I'll be like, yeah, it was all right, you know? And one thing that I've learned about myself is that I need time to process information, like reflect on how everything went. And I don't like to share it because I don't want to distort whatever perception or perspective I have in my mind because I shared it with you or with somebody. And that you give me your insight or your input, and now it kind of ruins my whole reflection. It's like my journaling process. And it takes me a while, and you'll notice like something will go through, something will happen with me, and then I'll go and share it with you guys a month after or 2 months after. Like I tell you guys everything, but it won't. I won't tell you 30 seconds after it happens. Like I'm not telling you after like right after it happens. And the same thing with Marina. So I was like, I need time alone to reflect on things. I like that moment. So when it comes to reaching out to you guys for whatever reason, I don't make that effort right away because I need my part to process things in the way that I'm processing things.
When it comes to you reaching out, I think I talked to you the least out of all my friends. But I will say this: with you, it is definitely a quality over quantity situation because I can talk to you about anything, and I could just out of nowhere just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you this deep, dark personal secret that's been bothering me that I don't feel comfortable telling anybody." And I could just come out of nowhere with it. I don't have to, you know.
I feel like the one quality that I give to like the people that I'm really close to is that when they need something, like I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
Like I'll help out.
yeah.
Um, so I think that's the one thing, but the trade off is like you're not going to get that every single day.
You're gonna find out I'm married a year later.
With all of that being said, I must be really annoying to you, Mo.
Why?
Because I feel like I always probe and pull things out. It's like I'm still processing it. Leave me alone.
No, I mean actually, before you were when we used to work together all the time, you were really annoying. Now, not so much. I don't really talk to you as often. So when I tell you something, it's kind of like already processed, post processed. So yeah.
Got it.
You're definitely Rancis. Are you like one of those dudes? Well, especially with Paula, not one of those dudes because you've been married for fucking forever. With Paula, are you like we can't sleep until we make this until we talk about this? Are you that guy?
100%.
Oh, that's so annoying.
100%.
That's so
For
annoying.
me,
I'm like, dude.
for me, that has always been my challenge and obstacle in terms of like with Moses and
Yeah.
with Paola. It's like, what the fuck you mean you need to process it? Like, no, we need to deal with this now. Which is, someone said that said a comment to me about like that I always keep my calm or whatever. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, I'm not a calm person, right? Like I've been described as intense, and I agree with that. But I think it's like the nuance of it because like I want to deal with things so quickly that it's like something if I see you roll your eyes, like I'm gonna look at you and I'm like, oh, what was that about? Like in the moment, like right now, like I got to deal with it straight. So with that being said, like it seems like I'm always calm and collected because I'm like in my theory is that I'm not like building up this like what has happened. I try to deal with it as soon as possible because I hate carrying that. I hate carrying that thought of like having that space where I'm just like thinking about something and it's like, oh, what does that mean? Does that mean this? Does that mean like I want to know the data as soon as possible. And with that, it's like like I'm not going to like, for example, if we get, and this I think comes into like being a sibling, if we get into a fight and you say fuck you, you're a piece of shit, like say all types of mean things to me, like I don't take it personally. I'm not gonna hold you to it. So a lot of times, like with Paola and with Moses, when they're like, I'm gonna say something I'm gonna regret, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like you say it, whatever. We'll get over it. We'll move on. So like, because I feel like there's things behind that that we can then understand about each other. So for me, it's definitely all about getting to know and understand what's happening, and then to connect this to like the topic we were talking about, like staying connected with people and kind of playing that role. I find that that also encourages me in terms of friendships.
Yeah.
So with my friends, for example, like now the way a lot of us communicate is through memes, right? We send each other social media memes. So if there's like this like meme that's like, oh, what's this supposed to mean? Let me call this. What's going on with you? What's happening? Right? So in that sense, I'm very curious. I'm always like trying to keep a pulse on things, because I also feel like I feel I'm the opposite of you, Jay, in the acts of service concept,
Yeah.
where I've been too heavy on the act of service and not enough, like most of my life, a dick with my time, as you said. So now I'm shifting it to the other side, where for me, I could have a bunch of things that I have to do, but like if my friend's in need in any level, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna drop all my things, I'm gonna be there for you. And that helps me build strong and powerful relationships and connection, and it helps me feel valuable. But then I need also space and time for me. So I need to be able to have the boundaries of like, okay, this is not something that I have to kind of deal with right now. Like, because then I become, and we've talked about this in the past, then I become like the the um the therapist on demand.
I also think it has to be with other people feeling safe around you, Rancis.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that feeling with you. Um, they feel like you wouldn't say no to them. At least that's the observation I've come to seeing you interact with others.
Mhm.
I think people think I'm a dick. So they just, a lot of the perceptions, especially people who don't really know me, especially like in the dance scene and stuff, they're like, I thought you were an asshole. Like you were just arrogant asshole that just stood in the corner. I was like, nah, I just get anxious talking to people.
I'm just
I don't like
awkward.
to talk.
I'm just
I'm just awkward. Yeah, I'm just awkward. You know, I was like, I can actually be really cool and helpful if you like just talk to me. If you make the effort.
If you make the
you have
Yeah.
hot girl tendencies, Mo.
All right.
You know, that's interesting though, because I had a conversation like with one of my friends during our 20-year high school reunion.
Mhm.
I was talking to one of my friends about like, he was saying something about like, why don't we go like out and do this and whatever. And I'm like, dude, this like coming out here tonight and like this music blasting, and we have to scream to hear each other. To me, this is anxiety producing. I hate this. I hate every second of it. Like this is not fun for me. When I invite you to come do something with me, it's because hey, this is an interest I have. But if I go out with you to do those types of things, it's because I'm doing that for you, not because I want to be there in any way. And he was just like blown away. He's like, wait, so you're uncomfortable here right now? I was like, yes. Like, yes. And it was like the same idea of like, you remember how you guys also used to always like poke fun? Like, why are you always a dick in places? Like, why are you always grumpy and like roll your eyes and all this stuff? And like, you just seem angry. I'm like, that was anxiety. So, yeah, I feel you on that, Mo.
Yeah.
But Mo is interesting because you've been like a lot of the scenes that you've been a part of seem to be those types of scenes where it seems like you'll be most uncomfortable. Is that
No, I
purposeful?
don't have to talk.
Yeah, he likes expressing himself through the art of dance.
Yeah, it's through the art of
Mm.
dance. And I don't have to do anything, but just it's like working out. It's like going to the gym.
He lets
You
his
know,
body do the talking.
it's like playing ball. Yeah, to me, it's the opposite for those. I still don't like to talk to people. I'll tell you that much.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, like below, comment, let us know your thoughts, and continue to enjoy.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast, but want to give you a quick announcement. Be on the lookout for something exciting that's coming out in the next couple months. Rancis, myself, and some other people, we're not going to say who, are coming back, and we're coming back with a lot of energy and a lot of great stuff. It's going to be super exciting. So if you're interested in being a part of it, just drop a comment or hit us up, DM us on Instagram, Mindset Mechanic, or Rancis VidaProject.
Project.
Yep. Let us know, and we'll make you. We'll write your name on the list, and we'll get you going. All right. It's going to be super exciting. I'm telling you. I don't want to announce it because it's too good. But yeah. All right. Now let's get back to the show. I have a theory
Go ahead.
on something. So I think I shared this with you a while back, Rancis, but I think that there's like evolution to men and their abilities for acts of service. And I think it has to do with taking care of something, like as you get older. So like if you knew Jay, he didn't really take care of anything when he was a kid. I think you had a turtle. Did you
I
have a
had turtle
turtle?
and birds.
Yeah. Yeah, you had like a turtle and birds, but
Yeah.
it didn't require much work. I think Indy changed you a lot.
Oh yeah.
Indy changed him a lot.
Yeah.
And then
My
I think,
firstborn.
yeah, and then having to learn how to take care of something like that, the like the act of service of like giving your time and energy to something else that isn't you.
Yeah.
And it's not really about you. It's not for you. I think is something big. And I've seen it with like, especially like different men that have changed. Like for me, it's been that like different acts of service, like working with kids, and then having to take care of dogs, and then I have nieces, and like so on and so forth. You like kind of scale your way up of taking care of something. And if you see like the most of the people who are like that, like if you look at Rancis as an example, father for a long time, gave acts of service, coaching for most of his life,
Yeah.
taking care. Like those are the people that are I think able to do that with ease. But I think it takes some men especially different levels of taking care of something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give a man give a man a plant, tell him to take care of a plant, see how long that plant survives.
How long?
It's interesting because like you talk about men in that sense, but women are the ones known for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking care, like the
With
maternal instinct, yeah, the nurture, like so it's like that idea is very interesting because there's also the concept of like a man becomes a father when he sees his child, right? And it's like when you lock eyes with your child, it's like there's this thing that shifts inside you. There's like, you are me, you are a part of me. I need to protect you from everything, and I'll die trying. Like there's just like switch that goes on. It's interesting because like there is that element that I think is important for men in that nurturing aspect, but also in relationships. Like for me, my wife has, we've been together since we were 16 years old, and we've had this connection of this teamwork and everything. But at any point, like I would give my life to protect her. So it's like it almost shows up differently from the nurture idea to this like protect concept.
Mm-hmm.
from my experience with it. But I think there's another side to it where, like you highlighted with Jay, he had, what was it, the turtle and what else?
A bird.
Birds.
Birds.
But with Indy, that shifted. And I heard someone else share something about their dog. I asked, this was a man, I asked him, have you ever loved before? And he's like, yeah, of course. Have you ever been in love before? He's like, I don't know. I don't think so. And then I asked him the following question was just, what or who do you love? And first thing he said was my dog. And I was like, tell me about that. Like, why? And his answer was like, well, I don't have to worry that I'll be rejected. And to me, that highlighted that ability to be vulnerable, like not have to prove your value in any way, which is directly correlates with like, oh, now I can serve you if it's not tied to me proving myself to you.
Mm.
And I think that highlights kind of a lot of challenges from the men's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also just conditioning. Like we were raised to, not we, but most men were raised to, you're the provider, you don't show emotion, you don't do all this stuff. So it's like the older you get, the more you realize, no, you do got to show emotion. You do have, it all plays into all these other aspects that, that were put upon us from a young age of what a man's supposed to be. And it's like they kind of leave out the fact that you do have to be emotional. You do have to have empathy. You do have to have all these different feelings in order to be a good person, a good man. I will challenge that guy's thing about the whole dog thing where it's like the dogs won't reject you. There's plenty of times that I get rejected for Ashley when it comes to cuddles and shit like that. It is hurtful. But I will say it fucking hurts. But I will say this, and this is what I learned from dogs the most, is that their time on earth is real short, right? Like, on a good run, your dog is 16, 17. On the rare occasion, you hear them be 20 years old. But for whatever time that they're on this world, all they do is love. They just love unconditionally. They just love you. They're excited to see you. They're excited, and if we can have just a tiny bit of that in us, we'll be all right. And that sounds gay, and I don't mean gay in the fact that I take in the butt. I'll gladly take in the butt. I think that's the most manly thing you can do. That's another topic for another day. I truly think the most manliest man is a strong gay man. If a gay man could fucking squat 465 and he's a power bottom, strongest man in the world, mentally and physically.
Oh man,
that went left real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
It did. But yeah, that's how I feel, guys.
I don't even know where to go from there.
Just end it.
I was gonna add something about dogs, but then it went to gay men squatting notes. I don't know.
Well, okay, well, all right. We're gonna ask about dogs.
Oh man, I was gonna say. Well, first of all, what I thought about the comment you said on dogs, Rancis, was that I think it requires at least, and there's some level of awareness that people need to have with this, because I feel like sometimes people have pets for their own kind of like selfish needs of like being validated, because like people get validated. Like people like same way, like having a kid to validate like your existence. But I think dogs require kind of like a selfless act of service where you're not necessarily getting anything in return. Right? Maybe get the puppy eyes and the wagging tail.
Yeah.
But like they're still gonna like do some shit, like a child, like a little baby is still gonna like shit in their diaper. Dog will shit on the floor somewhere.
Yeah, Bailey shit on the couch this week, so there's that.
Yeah, so you're still gonna care for them and take care of them no matter what.
Yeah,
like a child almost. So I think that is where it starts for more people. And I think if you have the awareness to learn from that animal, I think that's where you can kind of transfer it to like other people, especially like other adults, where you take an action, you provide some type of act of service without an expectation of something in return.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard for some people to do, especially adults. It's like, if I do something, then there is this expectation that something should be done in return. And I think that's where most people get stuck. And going back to like our original conversation, it's just like, that's why I don't necessarily just give out my time like that, like just to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to go reach out to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Because for me, when I do something, it's because I want to do it. It's not because I feel I have to do it or that I have to prove something to somebody. It's because I know that you're in need, I'm going to help. And if I have the resources to help you, I'm going to do it. That's it. There's no and, ifs, or buts. Like, that's just the way it is. And if I don't want to do it, I'm going to say no. And I think that to me is like the protection between, and kind of going back to Rances, what you spoke about, where you feel like sometimes you don't protect your time. That to me is how I protect like my mental sanity and anxiety and all that shit. It's just like, no, I have my lines. I know exactly what I'm capable of, and I'll give it to you if I want to, because I want to.
You know, for me, I think that is like the act of service, me giving my time and everything like that. To be honest, and this is why it was so hard, because there's no drawback for me in terms of immediate drawback of like, oh, this was horrible. Like, I feel good about it. It really brings me happiness. It brings me satisfaction in life in that way. But when you kind of zoom out, and like for me, trying to build something that's greater, that's going to benefit more people, that's when I start looking at it. Well, if I'm spending so much time with, let's say, this individual versus the time that I'm supposed to build this thing that's going to benefit a bunch of individuals, that becomes the kind of the lost equation there, where it's like, okay, I need to be more protective of my time so that I can build for more towards the mission rather than this immediate gratification type of thing. So I think, because the fundamental idea hasn't shifted for me, where like is giving and doing all of that feels good, brings me joy, brings me happiness in life and satisfaction. So to that end, I think that's the way to find the most joy in your life. But when you compare it to what you're trying to build, what you're aiming towards. So for example, if you're building your family and your relationship with your wife and kids and everything like that, and if you're willing to sacrifice that to be active service there, you're going to pay a bigger price because of that sacrifice. It's going to hurt you greater run. So it needs to be in balance with what you're doing and what your kind of life mission is. Jay, did I lose you? Because you had the glossy eyes.
I was thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight.
I hate you. I'm done. I'm going to mute myself.
See, this goes back to like the whole puppy thing, right? Where it's like sometimes the dog just shits on your couch and you go, you know what? It's okay. I love you anyway. Sometimes I just go glossy-eyed in the middle of a monologue. I'm sorry. Mo understood it. Somebody else. I'm not the only one listening here. This is for the fans. These are for the people who listen too. As long as they process it, we're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of autistic people that listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
right?
there's all 10 of them.
You know, that means I'm not even going to go down that way.
Rances got serious real quick.
No, what I was about to say is that a lot of times when I'm laughing and whatever, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this. I'm not really like laughing. This is how I actually feel. So I think I just learned over the years how to how to mask up and react in that way. But really, this is me. So when you mentioned the autistic thing, I was like,
Yeah, that's true, right? I do agree with what Ransom had said before, though, in his pretty long monologue. Uh, but I relate with that, and that's why I'm a little bit more protective of my time over Rancis. I would tell Rancis in our coaching sessions, I'm like, bro, 2 hours coaching, they only pay for an hour. They only pay for an hour.
Yeah.
Stop giving 3 hours away.
he's right.
It's like, yeah, but I was like, in the moment, I was going to get them to change their entire life in that moment. And I'm like, no, bro, you're not. You're not. Tell them, if you're going to change their life, tell them to pay 3 times the amount.
You hear that, guys? If you want to start changing your life, you got to start paying us.
It's not us. You got to pay something.
Patreon.
It's
We're
either
going to
going
be
to
on
be
Patreon from now on.
money. You're going to pay something. Something. If you want to change, there's a price. Whether it's in dollars, if that's the currency, or pain or emotion, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's going to be in some type of way. You're going to pay for it. So,
All right.
I think we're at the end. Yeah.
I think Francis, so what did we learn?
We learned that being selfish and only thinking about yourself can bring some temporary pleasures, but as we start seeing that we have impact in other people's lives, that brings a greater joy. When we get uncomfortable and push ourselves, our life becomes more fulfilled.
Yeah.
And that's the act of service.
And on that note, everybody, that was Mindset You. Don't forget to like, subscribe, find us anywhere you can listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify. I don't know if we're on Apple yet. and YouTube. I know we're on YouTube and Spotify. So definitely check out there. Those 2 places, I know for a fact that's where we are because I upload directly to those places. Anywhere else, good luck. It's been Mindset You guys. It's been a great one.
Oh, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.